Welcome to Lookouts and Waterfalls in the Blue Mountains, episode 14, Let Our Videos Be Your Guide. In this episode, we drive back to Leura to visit 7 lookouts along the Prince Henry Cliff Walk on the escarpment above the Jamison Valley. Hello and welcome. We have driven to the corner of Lone Pine Avenue and Olympic Parade and about to walk the short distance to Gordon Falls Lookout. We will see that shortly. After that, because the Prince Henry Cliff Walk is closed, we'll walk back to the car and drive to the start of the track that leads to Elysian Rock, where there's a lookout. From there, we'll walk along the Prince Henry Cliff Walk to Olympian Rock, where there is also a lookout. Our next stop is Tarpeian Rock. Because the Prince Henry Cliff Walk is closed here, it's back to the car and a drive back along Olympian Parade. And lastly, we'll walk over to Bridal View for a look over Bridal Falls.
Before we start, these are the roads we followed to the start of the walking track.
We followed the M4 motorway from Sydney onto the Great Western Highway and will take the Leura exit 43 kilometres from the bridge over the Tarpean River. If your vehicle has a trip meter, set it to 0 as you exit the highway. Turn left at the roundabout onto Leura Mall. At 650 metres, proceed straight through another roundabout and the shopping centre. Proceed straight through another roundabout at 2 kilometres, turn left onto Olympian Parade. At 2.4 kilometres, park near Gordon Falls Reserve. Follow the signs while walking 150 metres to the lookout.
It's always fun to visit new places. There's always pleasant surprises and a mystery or two.
That's nice. Let's go.
Oh, these steps are something else.
Oh, God, the land of the giants, those steps. Where exactly is this lookout, Graham?
Gordon Falls Lookout is located on the escarpment between Elysian Rock and Gordon Falls in Leura. Access can be gained via the Prince Henry Cliff Walk that goes between the Three Sisters at Echo Point and this lookout, and from the eastern end of Olympian Parade through this reserve. We have been told that this lookout has views directly down into Gordon Falls and over the Jamison Valley. The Creek Falls Reserve and Lookout were named in honour of General Charles George Gordon, born 1833 and who died in 1885 in a conflict in the Sudan. He was a highly respected man with a concern for the welfare of the poor and oppressed. Just why General Gordon's name came to be associated with these places is unclear, but it appears to have been transferred from Gordon Road in the Leura Park estate, which was being opened up around the time of his death. In 1901, a shelter shed was constructed and the Gordon Falls trustees called for tenders for clearing the land and erecting children's swings. Later that year, a large number of English trout fry were obtained by the trustees. Mr. A. Wilson and Mr. A. J. Craig promptly released them at Minnehaha and Gordon Falls reserves. The Katoomba Daily newspaper in June of 1928 published, "Gordon Falls is a very deservedly popular resort with every provision made for rustic picnickers, such as seats and tables under shady trees. For children there are swings, seesaws, horizontal bars and swing boats to keep them amused, while their parents obtain an extensive view of Mount Solitary, the Jamison Valley and East Katoomba. Passing through the mall at Leura are to be seen the many beautiful homes and gardens of New South Wales retired citizens. One whole day's enjoyment here." This is amazing. And look at that. Gordon Falls. At last, we get to see it. On the right of Gordon Falls, and about 160 metres south of Golf Links Lookout, is Lindeman's Falls. It's a short-running waterfall that is fed by only 2 watercourses, the longest being about 700 metres. Now I'm looking for Lindeman Falls. And while Lindeman Falls should be over there, it's not, there's no water.
It was our intention today to walk the Prince Henry Cliff Walk from Gordon Falls Lookout all the way to Bridal Vale View, but recent rock slides have closed some sections of the track. To continue our adventure, we will return to the vehicle and drive back along Olympian Parade, a short distance, to the Elysian Rock Access Walk. If you are driving from Sydney, follow our instructions to Gordon Falls Lookout, except once on Olympian Parade, turn right opposite Balmoral Road, stop and walk to the rock. Here is a path you can follow to get to the start of the walking track.
This is the track to Elysian Rock from Olympian Parade. Under normal conditions, the rock can be accessed by the Prince Henry Cliff Walk. Driving, walking and cycling directions to the start of today's walks can be found at the end of this episode. What do we know about Elysian Rock, Jeffrey?
Elysian Rock is located between Gordon Falls Lookout and Olympian Rock, and is also referred to as Elysian Rock Lookout. In Greek mythology, the Elysian fields were a place of perfect happiness.
Is it a train? More lava outcrop, more waviness here.
On the western side of the rock is Buttonshaw Bridge, an interesting highlight in this section of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk. The original bridge was built in 1936 and was replaced with a modern 14-metre long steel bridge in 2015 by the Blue Mountain City Council. The views from this remarkable piece of engineering across the deep rock chasm on the cliff edge are quite special.
So this outcrop's been destroyed.
The bridge was named on the 16th of June 1936 by the Blue Mountains Shire Council in recognition of the then Minister for Lands, Ernest Albert Buttonshaw, who officially opened the third and final section of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk at Elysian Rock.
Oh, it's a bit tricky getting down here. The other half of Elysian Rock. As you can see, we're getting ever closer to the Three Sisters. And we're away.
The next section of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk is open, so we'll take it to our next lookout, Olympian Rock. Direct access to this rock can be gained from Olympian Parade between number 27 and Leura Public Gardens.
Here are the roads you can take to get to the start of the track.
What do we know about this place, Graham?
I have no historical information on Olympian Rock. The first mention I can find is in a newspaper called the Evening News, published in Sydney on Saturday, the 4th of January 1899. It states, the newly opened track at Leura, the Gordon Falls and Olympian Rock were also largely patronised. This newly opened track is the Prince Henry Cliff Walk. It is a unique track that skirts the escarpment for almost 12 kilometres between its ends at Scenic World at Katoomba and the Gordon Falls Reserve at Leura. The Cliff Walk was in use for 35 years without an official name, until January 1934, when prompted by the royal visit of Prince Henry, the Duke of Gloucester, it was decided to approach the King of England for approval to use Prince Henry's name. Approval was given, and on Saturday the 20th of October 1934, the Honourable E.S. Spooner, Minister for Local Government, performed the official opening of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk. Prince Henry arrived in Sydney later that year on Thursday, November the 22nd, but due to his limited 4-day Sydney schedule, with only 10 minutes in Katoomba, he never saw the Prince Henry Cliff Walk.
Olympian Rock.
This is the start of the Tarpeian Rock Access Walk. From here on Cliff Drive it's 220 metres to the rock. Other ways to walk there are from either end of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk.
Here is a path you can follow to get to the start of the walking track.
Directions to the start of each walk can be found at the end of this episode. What do we know about this place, Geoffrey?
The first Tarpean Rock was named in ancient Rome. The Capitolium, or Capitoline, hill between the Forum and the Campus Martius is one of the 7 hills of Rome. At this hill, while trying to gain access to the citadel, warring mountain tribes known as the Sabines were led in by the Roman maiden Tarpeia. For this treachery, Tarpeia was the first to be punished by being flung from a steep cliff overlooking the Roman Forum. This cliff was later named the Tarpean Rock after her and became a frequent execution site from which criminals were thrown to save the trouble of hanging.
You think some of the other parts are rustic?
Later, the celebrated Tarpean Rock was turned into a type of garden where the young men and maidens of ancient Rome used to make their assignations. Secret meetings. Let's hope this rock got its name from being a secret meeting place, and not a place from which Katoomba's criminals were flung.
Okay. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, absolutely.
About the not wanting people to walk on it because they're wearing the grooves away. Thousands of tiny feet. Okay, so we'll go over to the next little bit and just have a quick look over there. From Tarpean Rock, it's a short 50 metres back to the Prince Henry Cliff Walk, where we take it for another 300 metres to Bridal Vale View. The only other way to get there is from Leura Cascades, walking east along the cliff walk. Bridal Vale View is a small, fenced lookout at the base of a flight of stairs at the end of the Bridal Vale View track. The lookout has a natural sandstone floor and provides an unobstructed view of the Bridal Vale Falls. These falls are about 150 metres away, and looking down from the top, the Bridal Veil likeness can be seen. Like all falls in this area, it is most spectacular after rain. But that's the Bridal Veil Falls.
Are you envisaging going down the bottom of those falls?
Not today.
Sometime?
Yeah.
For your viewing pleasure, we will not be backtracking to the car. Instead, we are going to continue towards Leura Cascades to show you two more features often missed by tourists. First, after a short walk back to Prince Henry Cliff Walk and another 115 metres, we'll turn off to look from the Rock Lookout.
I wonder if that's the Rock Lookout. That is a rock.
There's a rock, and you can see from there.
This is it here. The Rock.
So this is the Rock.
Not much of a view. There's a seat here. It's falling apart, but you can still sit on it. All the railing's gone. But what can we see? Nothing. Now on to our second special feature, the final destination for today. It's another small lookout just 140 metres further on. It's called Flying Fox Lookout, and it has a history all of its own. In 1909, the construction of the Leura sewage filter beds, like Katoomba's, required the construction of 6 flying foxes to transport the pipes and equipment down the Leura Gorge into the valley. There is no physical evidence today, but from a few black and white photographs, it is thought the first flying fox went from Kia Lookout to the small rocky platform in the stream bed at the top of Leura Falls. From there, the second flying fox dropped to below the Bridal Veil and so on to the site selected for the filter beds. Was Flying Fox Lookout originally a location to observe the construction of the flying foxes and later to watch them in action? I believe it was. There's a lookout around here somewhere.
Yes, there is.
That goes up the Cliff Drive, does it?
That goes to Cliff Drive.
Yeah, right. That's the way we've got to go.
Okay.
There's supposed to be a lookout right here at this intersection. It's
Oh,
called
you look-
Flying Fox Lookout. Yeah.
Haven't heard of
So we'll just have a quick look over the edge here.
He's in there somewhere. Here he comes. I've tried to find him. There he comes.
We visited 7 places today: Gordon Falls Lookout, Elysian Rock, Olympian Rock, Tarpean Rock, and walked over to Bridal View. From there we went to the Rock Lookout and searched for the Flying Fox Lookout, which appears not to exist anymore. We don't expect you to do that all in one day. Take your time, enjoy the outdoors, the sunshine, the fresh air, the wonderful vistas, but most of all, stay safe by familiarising yourself with our safety instructions at the end of this episode.
In our next episode, we drive back to Leura and walk down the Leura Falls Creek to the many cascades and see some of the many lookouts in the valley. Until then, bye.
Bye for now, and thanks for watching. Whatever way you discover the Blue Mountains, we want you to have a safe and enjoyable experience. Whether you drive, catch public transport, or cycle to the destinations we visit here, some walking is necessary. The walks are usually short, but can contrast greatly, so you need to be aware of the risks. Have a safe and enjoyable sightseeing experience at these lookouts and waterfalls. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to be alerted when next we visit the Blue Mountains.